Hey, what's up guys? Good to do another knife review today. Today we're talking about this little fixed blade, very cool, fantastic fixed blade, which I love. And believe it or not, it's not my first one, but I had to get a new one because my old one was traded. This is the CRKT Sting, and it's one of my favorite little boot knives. I recently did a video not too long ago showing a different carry method. I've carried this particular design inside the boot before and found it to be a little bit uncomfortable. This knife specifically comes with some straps for an ankle carry, which is definitely more comfortable, more on the comfortable side, but how I showed in that one video, mounting the sheath on the tongue of the boot high up, I think it's the most comfortable. It literally just disappears. I did not feel it at all during the day, moving around or anything like that. But anyway, this is an awesome knife. Like I said, made by CRKT Knife and Tool. It's an A.G. Russell design. This knife is nothing new. This has been around more than 20 years. So if you're just seeing it now, welcome to the party, because you've been missing out. It's a very cool knife. There's a lot of similar designs out there, a lot of no-name Chinese companies and stuff reproducing the same knife, obviously not the same quality. This one by CRKT is 6.85 inches overall. And the blade, which is a double-edged, yes, it's sharpened on both sides, spear point style blade. All right, it's 1050 carbon steel. A lower Rockwell in this, about 52 to 55, which is on the soft side. It will aid in resharpening, but this is not something, like I said, you would probably grab for utility use. So the edge on this, it comes nice and sharp out of the box. The problem with this is that it's a very thick grind on here, and it's also a very short blade in width. It's not extremely wide, so that the slope you have here is abrupt, which creates a thicker edge. So although it's nice and sharp out of the box, okay, and you do all your little tests, you know, you can do a little fingernail test, you'll find that it is sharp, but you're not gonna be able to grab paper and just slice through paper like you would maybe a pocket knife. It's just not gonna do that because of the dynamics of the blade itself. It's just too thick for that. But for its intended purpose, to be thrusted into, let's say, meat, it will work very well. And of course, having a spear point blade with both edges sharpened does create a nice acute point here, and it will penetrate very easily. Not specifically a great slicer in that sense, but definitely for thrust, stabbing, anything like that, it's going to be superb and outperform most knives out there. What I really like about this specific one is that it's one solid chunk of carbon steel. All right, it's just one hunk. That's it. It's machined out of one piece of steel, hot forged, and that's it. There's no handles here. Basically, you just have a blade. You don't even have handles. It's just this part of the blade is not sharp, so it's easy to hold. Pretty universal design. Fits pretty much everyone's hand. I like this little teardrop cutout. It's on both sides. Your thumb rests perfectly in this. It's extremely comfortable in this grip or reversed. It's not going to matter for functionality. And of course, there's a little bit of a finger choil on both sides to hold it in this kind of grip if you were to hold it that way to use it for utility, or if you were holding it that way to slice or something. I don't find it to be really comfortable like this because it's the shorter handle here. So it leaves a grip that is not as secure as I would like. Of course, there's no jimping or anything. It's all smooth on the outside. Holding like this is perfect. This is never going to come out of my hand like this. I feel extremely secure in my grip. This, not so much, but again, I'm not using this so much for utility. I would hold it like this, and if you need to slice, although it's slightly awkward, you can still definitely get it done. There's obviously a hole in the back here if you wanted to. It's an oversized lanyard hole. If you want to put a lanyard on here for just a quicker accessibility from the sheath. The sheath I really like. It's just a nylon sheath with a hard insert in it. Okay, and you can see the extension on top here is that same teardrop pattern, so that drops in here. That's where your retention is. Okay, so it's not going to fall out. And it is a perfect fit, and what's nice about this is it does not rattle at all. Okay, so obviously wearing around the ankle or wearing the boot, it's not going to present itself with a noise by clicking or bouncing around like that. To take it out of the sheath, you have to be careful. Obviously it is double-edged. You don't want to put your thumb up against here on the plastic. If you do, to extract it, your thumb's going to stay there, but as you can see, the blade is going to slide right past it. So if you hold it like this, like a lot of times, I will use my thumb to brace against the sheath and then pull it out, but you have to, for this particular one, you have to use it down here, okay, if you need that leverage. because if you hold it up here, just not thinking about it, you might just, how you normally would grab your knife, once that pops loose and you pull it out, you know, depending on your grip like that, you will easily slice your thumb. But so you don't even need to do that to remove this, specifically if it's around your ankle or on your boot, like most people will carry this. Just a quick grab, you know, it's retained in there, it's not gonna fall out, but it's not terribly difficult to remove, all right? Besides that, there's a lot of carry options with this. Obviously, as you can see, it comes with these 2 ankle straps and another strap for around the side of the ankle to keep these together so they don't kind of move up and down. You can use any combination of these straps with these mounts on the back here. You have an elastic mount on the bottom. Okay, another mount over here, a strap so you can carry this on the belt if you wanted to. This also opens up as well. All right, so if you wanted to carry it that way for even a more secure carry on the belt, a lot of options. You can pretty much put this anywhere you want. Like I said, I primarily carry this in my shoe, my boot. I've carried it in regular sneakers in the same fashion as the boot, but it's not quite as sturdy because there's not enough for the tongue to hold on to. I can fish my laces back and forth through both of these straps when it's on the boot with the longer tongue, but obviously on a sneaker, I can only do the base of it, and it's a little bit top heavy because of that handle. Again, being all steel, carbon steel, it's a chunk of metal, okay? But I have to say, you know, it's not as heavy as you might think it would be. The weight on this is 3.9 ounces. Being solid steel like this, it's actually lighter than you would think. And when you're carrying it in the sheath, whether it's if it's on your waist or even on your shoe or around your ankle, it really does disappear. It does not present itself as being heavy. Unlike, say, a pocket knife in your pocket, which you're more conscious of it because, you know, moving around, it's right there on the hip, all right? If you were to carry this on your waist, I would say a really good spot for this would be maybe the small of your back. Again, still for the same purpose of being a backup defensive blade. Particularly if you carry a gun, you know, your strong side being in the right or the left, putting this on the small of your back, basically just literally like right above your butt, is probably the best spot for it. And of course, if you're righty, you'd want to present it so that you can grab it with your right hand easily. Or if you're lefty, obviously like this, on your back, and it'll always be there. It should be, you know, out of the way, carrying it horizontal like this. If you were to carry it vertical, you'd present problems sitting down. It might dig into your spine. Very, very uncomfortable and very dangerous. If you carry anything on your belt on the small of your back, you want to kind of have it off to one side a little bit, because if you do take a fall or something or an impact, having steel back there, whether it's a gun or a knife or you know, flashlight, anything like that, you don't want that to present a problem with your spine right there. You can easily, you know, break your spine and have some serious problems, if not, you know, fatality from it. So accidents do happen, just be careful of it and minimize the possibilities for mistakes. So anyway, I really like this knife. You could do a lot with this knife. Now, like I said, I purposely have this as a backup defensive blade, just in case something happens where my gun's not functioning or is taken away from me or I drop it, whatever the situation is. I will always have a folding knife on my person of some kind, or in some cases, if I don't have a folding knife, I'll have multiple fixed blades on me. But just in a very rare situation where I have no other options, or if I'm on the ground. If I'm on the ground, or let's say in a car, a great example of having a boot knife really shine would be in a car, in a sitting position of any kind, really, where perhaps a fixed blade on your hip or a folding knife in your pocket is not as easily accessible. You know, in a sitting position, I mean, right now, if you're sitting at your computer desk or something, reach down, touch your ankle. It's gonna be a lot easier than kind of leaning back and going for something in your pocket or in your waist. So this really does shine in that situation. It's good to have options. That's all it is an option. Some people wouldn't want to bother with having something like that. I do. I like it. But this also can serve many other purposes. Being a solid chunk of steel, you're not going to break this thing. All right? It's just not going to happen. Therefore, if you wanted to, although not ideal, you can certainly get this knife and use it as a throwing knife. You'd have a lot of fun setting up a wood target, you know, or getting a wood stump and painting a target on it and just going at it. Throwing this, you know, hour after hour. Your edges will dull a little bit, but because of the stick grind, you're not even going to tell the difference. Nothing's going to chip off, nothing's going to break. There's no handle scales to break off or crack. It's just a hunk of sharp steel. And it's going to perform very well with that double-edged spear point blade. So yeah, makeshift throwing knife, you can have a heck of a lot of fun with it. Besides that, if you wanted to get this knife, if you had the proper tools and knowledge to do so, I would say this would be a good modification to this knife to make it a great, I would really consider this a great utility knife and or backup utility. Would it be taking a lot of metal off the center of the blade here. Okay, what you'd have to do is kind of thin out the blade. You can see the profile here. It's quite thick. But I would take off a lot of steel here, and I would make this a double convex grind. All right, so basically, if you have a grinder, if you have a sanding belt with the appropriate belts, you're just basically doing a curved kind of grind on both sides to give you a double convex edge. Okay, thinning out this blade, bring it to a convex. I think it would perform fantastic. Obviously, it's going to be extremely strong anyway, and I think in that case, yes, I think it can definitely be more appropriate for utility work. But as is, out of the box, like I said, it's not going to slice paper for you. It'll certainly open your packages if you want. It'll open your mail. But it's kind of the dirty, nitty-gritty type stuff. You know, when you have your fancy $400 custom folder, you're not going to want to get in there in the dirt and the grime. Having this on your ankle at all times, okay, for like a beater knife, this really does make a fantastic beater knife. You cannot break it. And even if your edge dulls a little bit, you could still get the work done depending on what you're talking about. If you're someone who really is just really heavy on your knives and just abuse the heck out of them, you're stabbing trees and all kinds of crap and just, tinkering around with them and using your knives improperly, please don't do that. But if you were to do that, don't use your expensive folders and your finely ground blades and stuff like that. This is definitely more appropriate for that kind of grunt work. So the down and dirty knives, this is it right here. It won't break. It won't physically break, and it won't break your wallet either. You get these online most places anywhere from like $34 to $37 in that range. Full MSRP, I believe, is $60 or $70. So you're looking at roughly half online. But very cool knife. Like I said, it's an age-old, proven design. There's a lot of different boot knives out there, but this is definitely one that's lasted the test of time. And it's really cool, and it'll be here for a very long time, way after us. There is a coating on this one. I've seen a couple guys actually, and I wouldn't mind doing this if I had a second one, but the coating's on here because it is a 1050 carbon steel, so it will rust if you do not take care of it. So they have this kind of anti-reflective flat black coating on it for that purpose. What I see some guys do is they'll strip this coating off completely, just basically buff the whole thing off. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to strip the coating off here, don't leave it like sandblasted. That obviously would be the easiest way to do it if you happen to have a sandblasting cabinet. But or if you're using a grinder with a buffing wheel, something along those lines, don't leave it as is. If you're going to take the coating off, I would highly recommend trying to put somewhat of a mirror polish on it. The finer you polish your metal, the smaller the pores are going to be, the harder it will be to rust. All right, so with any carbon steel, if you can get this close to a mirror polish finish on this, you'll have much less problems with surface rust. And eventually, real rust and pitting and all those other problems that come with that. Plus, it'd be pretty cool, but then just remember, it's a shiny piece of jewelry knife, although extremely functional, just as it was before, certainly not covert. So if you want to be all tactical and black and awesome in that sense, then sure. But, for the price of these and for the fact that it's never going to break, you can use this thing until the black coating comes off and just go to Walmart and get your Krylon paint it whatever cool color you want. Use it again, you can quick and dirty grind on these edges. It really can make a fantastic beater knife. And I don't like using that term loosely because I don't like people abusing their knives, but it is just that. It's a knife you cannot break. And I'll be proving that in future videos. I love to do a lot of different work with this. Obviously with the double edge, we're not going to be batoning, but I will certainly do some demos and show you how tough this thing really is, because I've had them before, and having a new one, it's just reminding me of all the fun things I did with it before, and my old one never broke. So we're going to try. I mean, I'm not going to try to break it, but I'm certainly not going to baby it. You'll definitely see some cool demos in the future with this. So that's all. That's the CRKT Sting. Very awesome knife. A lot of carry options, a lot of versatility in this one, and affordable. So that's all. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Of course, if you have this knife, I'd love to see some video responses, or even throw your opinions in the text. I know it's very popular. Like I said, the design's been around for 20 plus years. I know some of you guys have these. I'd love to hear what you've been doing with yours. So till then, I'll see you guys at my next review or video, vlog. Who knows what I'm going to do? You just never know. Got a bunch of stuff planned, just trying to find time to do it. But anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care.